And as we just hit zero on the timer, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tier 2 of Inter's Racing League. As you can see, with the title, it's round 8 at Qatar. It is also a sprint round, so 10 laps of a sprint, 29 laps of your feature, as we find ourselves in the desert for the third time this season. Scotty here with you, doing a bit of a double stint from Tier 3 last night, doing my regular Tier 2 spot, and this time I'm joined by who was probably driver of the day last night in Tier 3, and that would be Mookie. How are you on this fine Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, doing great, Scotty. Excited to be in here. Thanks for having me, man.
Exactly right, and obviously you showed your pace in Tier 3 last night. Great job from you. Pole position, won the sprint, and third in the feature, so all round a great night from you. Is there anything in particular about this track that you enjoy, or is it just you just found your rhythm last night?
Yeah, I think I just hit my rhythm. I didn't only really started practicing the track about a week ago. Before that, I've never touched it. I didn't play the game when it was in the game previously. So, no, nothing special about the track. I had a bit of time away from the game. So at the beginning of the season, I was just a little rusty. Taken me a little time to get up to speed, but yep, definitely hit my straps now. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, exactly right. So good to have you in here, and good to see that we've got 9-10 at the moment, but Batman will join during quali for the other Mercedes, so we'll have a full grid, which is really good to see. It'll be interesting to see who can score pole position. Gordo currently leading the Drivers' Championship, and so we'll see if he can find his way up to the front, or if Ferrari, the two guys, Broseph and Marty, currently leading the constructors for Tier 2, see if they can go very well as well, as we do have a few of the drivers just leaving pit lane now. Who we got first? It's an Alfa Romeo by the look of it. So, where are we? Bang. Obviously reserved last night. Probably not one of the nights he sort of wants to remember. Got caught up in a few incidents, unfortunately. But we'll see how he goes in tier 2 tonight, I should say, in the Alfa Romeo. As we know, 5.418 kilometre circuit around Qatar here, 16 corners, and only the one DRS zone down the start-finish straight. And that's pretty much where we saw a lot of our overtaking last night in Tier 3 was the Turn 1. And a lot of the moves were done before we even got to Turn 1. So I know, Mookie, you and Powers had a great battle, sort of switching back and forth between there. So I'd imagine that's sort of where the drivers will aim for their moves tonight.
Yeah, exactly right, Scotty. It's as you mentioned, that's one of the best overtaking opportunities is obviously down that start finish straight towards the end of turn one. Other than that, not too many opportunities for an overtake. Maybe it's I'm not quite sure if it's turn three, I think it is, the hard braking zone. You can possibly pull off a move there, but yeah, definitely down this DRS straight is your best shot.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we might go on board with Gordo as he takes us through a lap of Qatar. So, as we said, down to turn 1, bit of a longer, or a bit of an unusual apex. You can go side by side, which he then switches back to the left for turn 2. Little kink at turn 3, nothing about that particular corner, and then coming around turn 4 and 5, the double right hander, he does go wide, and that's his invalidation. And we saw a lot of guys picking up penalties in the race and a few invalidations in qualifying as well. That's sort of the one thing the guys will have to be careful of tonight, is to keep it within track limits, within the white lines. And Mookie, I think it was very easy last night, especially with a bit more fuel on board, to easily just run all four wheels over the white lines and just extend those corners a little bit.
Yeah, it's very easy to do that, Scotty. Exactly right. And I think in quali here, invalidating a lap, with the high tire wear, you're not doing yourself any favors by invalidating your lap and ruining those tires. You've got to make every lap count. So, yep, very easy to invalidate. And I think it's important just to get a good banker on the board here. Keep those wheels within the lines.
Exactly right. We did see Bang do that banker on a 22.4, so he goes top at the moment, as we have seen Gordo invalidate. So we'll go to the McLaren, I think, who parallel Aussie. So he's currently coming around the final corner now. As I just have a quick look to see where he is at the moment. Currently 13th in the standings. And as you can see, a lot of ARS deployment being used as he goes at 21.2. So great lap from the McLaren. I think we've got one of the Red Bulls behind as Battlecat goes 22.1. So, oh, and I say that, NATO goes
Ooh, and a
20.8.
20.8.
So great lap time from the Aston Martin driver. DDR Rixin. I could be pronouncing that completely wrong. Apologies for that. But the other Alfa Romeo 22.8, just getting those bankers in. I think we did
Yeah,
see.
I think it's rain, eh?
Yeah, I think it is. Toddy goes P3, Marty goes P4, Mitty goes P5. So time's just starting to come in as we've got Broseph coming around the final corner now. Batman's joined us, so we will have our 20-car field. Bit of DRS for the Ferrari driver. So he gets actually a little bit of a tow from the car in front. Goes P9. I think that was his teammate. No, it was one of the Alfa Romeos. So gets a time on the board. I think we got an Alpha Tauri of Kaio. He's just about to start his first run. So just seeing a couple of these guys. But yeah, as I was saying, ARS usage. Definitely you run out usually just before the corner depending on where you turned it on. Mookie, when you did your quality laps, did you just leave it on or did you actually turn it off in a couple of corners to try and make sure you had ARS down that front straight at the end?
No, it was a good idea. I heard about that afterwards, but nope, I just left it on throughout the lap. To be fair, I didn't run out. It just cuts off at a certain percentage down that main straight. It just says deploy used, even though I was at about 15%. So, but nah, I just let it go through the lap.
Yeah, exactly right. T8 just starting his run as Mertz in the Haas 12 and 13th at the moment. Yet to set a time. Mertz has invalidated his time. So, but he's going to go again. He had enough fuel in. Gordo's come back into the pits. Mercy's invalidated his time as well and goes off track as well at turn 13. So a few of these boys just struggling to get a lap time in, unfortunately. And we did see that last night as well. I think Powers pretty much was dead last until he put a lap in at the very death and managed to get onto the front row, which he got a little bit lucky with that.
Oh yeah, kept his nerve under pressure though, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly right. He definitely had to push for the one lap shot, I should say. So I'm just having a quick look at quali. What time did you do? You did it at 21.3 last night for pole position. So Nato half a second quicker than that. So that's sort of, you're looking at how quick the time was as we're just following through. Lane Santa coming through the middle part of the lap around turn 10 now. So we'll follow him through the rest of this lap as Gordo invalidated on our first hot lap. Pebble in the middle sector, and you can see the triple right-hander. He was flat through the first two. Just a little bit of a lift to make sure he keep it within track limits. And then he's got turn 15, manages to keep all four wheels. And he might actually get a little bit of a tow. If he can get his apex right, he can. Bit of DRS to the end, and yeah, he's definitely going to use that tow. Oh, and he got close. He manages just to do it, but
the last minutes.
Yeah, exactly right. But he does move into P7, so it was a decent lap for the AlphaTauri. As Battle Cat's off the track, top 6 at the moment in the pit lane, and we've got a few others coming for their outlaps. So just under 10 minutes left to go in the session, and as you can sort of see, still waiting on 8 drivers to actually get a lap time on the board at the moment. Gordo just coming to start his next lap as well. So Gordo obviously leading the way, but he's only got about a 20-odd point lead. As I quickly have a look, no, he's only got a 14-point lead over Marty. And we know how consistent Marty's been, because he actually hasn't picked up a race win yet as a Ferrari driver. So, proven consistent, but Gordo's got a lot of wins at the moment. He's got 3 and then 2/3 as well, and got 4 pole positions. So Gordo's definitely been quick in this session. So it's just a matter of if he can get the lap in as he comes around turn 10 now. So in qualifying, Mookie, did you find traffic was a little bit of an issue for you, or you managed to find enough space out there considering that it is only an 80-second lap time?
Yeah, initially I went out early just to set a banker, and I mean, that one I didn't really run into traffic, and then no, traffic wasn't really a problem, to be honest. It seems alright.
Exactly right. As we can see,
But
Gordo. Sorry, we can just see Gordo
sorry,
have the ERS deployed, and he only goes P8 for the Haas driver, so he's 8 tenths off pole. So that's how good of a lap time NATO put in, and PRL Aussie is still 4 tenths off that. So the Aston Martin's 1 and 3. Yusuf in the Aston Martin in a reserve role this afternoon. That's looking to be a very strong outfit tonight.
yeah, exactly right, Scotty. That's a great time from the Aston boys. When Mercy is invalidated again, so not great for looking great for Mercy at the moment.
Yeah, just a few of these guys
He'll want
just
to get back to
struggling.
the
Yeah. T8 in the Alpine. Obviously, he's yet to set a lap time too, so just a few of these guys are struggling to get a lap time in. On board with Toddy. Brilliant second place last time out in Japan. So looking forward to see what he can do tonight as he rounds turn 10 now. A few yellow flags. Obviously, fuel going to be a big issue tonight. Saw no safety cars in Tier 3, and I think we had about half a dozen cars run out of fuel before they got to the line in the races last night. Mookie, I think you were just about right with your fuel.
Yeah, I was right, Scotty, but as you mentioned, we had about half a dozen that weren't alright, so I hope these boys were watching and hope they know to overfuel big time.
Yeah, exactly right. We'll get to that when we start the sprint. But Toddy coming around turn 15 now. So he's got one car in front of him, so he'll get the advantage of a little bit of a tow. And I think that might be either Harass or Batman in front, but he's going to get a nice tow. As you can sort of see, DRS, he's used all his available battery. He comes across the line. He does move up onto the second row, moves up a spot. But that's a great lap from him. Yusuf, in the meanwhile, just behind his teammate. So Aston Martin holding out and locking out that front row at the moment.
Yeah, looking very quick, the Aston boys.
Bangs improved to a 21.9, so he finds himself just inside the top 10. Batman's got a lap time in 24 flat. Still waiting on Mert, Sam, Mercy, and Blue Dog. So Mercy, he was our race winner last time out in Japan. So he'd probably rather not start P19 in this, at least in the sprint, because he's third in the championship, only 15 points off our leader Gordo. As he comes around the triple right-hander, manages just to avoid one of the acids.
And he's invalidated again.
Again,
mercy.
It's the last part of that triple right-hander turn 14. You can you just extend wide, and unfortunately, that's another invalidation. He's got time to
just needs
come
to get
back
a time
in.
On the board, though.
Yeah, exactly right. He's got time to come in and get another set of tyres on. 5.5 minutes left to go, but again, it's something that Powers did last night. I mean, Powers got out of it, but you don't want to put that much pressure on you as Batman goes into P15. That was a better lap time from him, 22.6.
And the other thing is tyres, Scotty. You know, Mercy's invalidated a few laps now, so he's probably burning through those tyres. Probably won't have a fresh set for the feature race if he wanted it. So not looking great on that front either for Mercy. Hopefully he can get out there and set a lap.
Yeah, exactly right. We did see last night, and obviously you driving as well. Just talk us about the tyre wear. It was a lot worse than sort of what I thought as I was sort of in the comms box watching. How was it actually feel driving it?
Look, the feeling was alright. I didn't feel terrible, but the thing that freaked me out is in my own practice, I punctured my hards after about 16 laps at only around 60-ish%. So I was very stressed about getting a puncture, you know. I think the top 3, we had a clear gap to the rest of the field. So I knew I had a free pit stop almost. So I had the comfort of knowing, okay, I'll just go the double stop anyway, just to make sure I make it to the end. But yeah, if you don't have that luxury of that gap, it's very stressful because yeah, your tires look like they're going to blow at any minute.
Yeah, exactly right. And I've got some secret stats beside me on the other screen, and a few of these soft tyres just after a lap or two in quali are already 10%. So that's the wear. But you've got Marty goes up into P3, got a lovely tow from his
That's
teammate
a
as
great
well.
lap.
So that was great work from the Ferraris. Marty up into P3, second in this championship. So he doesn't want to let Gordo get away, but he's actually got a lap in, a decent lap in, I should say, compared to the other guys behind him. So be very
Yeah,
happy with
exactly
that.
right.
Yeah, be very happy with
I
that
see.
21-1.
Yeah, I see Mertz moved up also. A decent lap from him. Moved up into P8, so the two Haas boys in the top 10 there.
Yeah, exactly right. Our pole sitter at the moment, Nando's actually validated his first run, so he's out of it for the time being, but he can go again. Hopefully he's got enough fuel in there. Coming through with Sam through turn 11 now. So Sam hasn't got a lap
Ooh,
time on the board as of yet. He's gone purple in the middle sector. Can he nail 14? He can. That was a better corner through there than the switch back to the left-hander of 15. So both Williams haven't got a lap time on the board, so they both have to do something with only 240 left in the session. He's got DRS, so where can Sam go for his first lap? He crosses the line now and goes just inside the top 10,
P10.
21.7. Good luck from Sam. He can do some damage from that point of view in that position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blue Dog's
Sam will be
just
happy with that.
yeah, Blue Dog and Mercy just starting probably their final runs now. So we'll see how they can go. Blue Dog actually crosses a line. He does a 24-3, so that tells me he invalidated early. As we just try and find, I think it's going to be the two Red Bulls. The Battle Cat's going to be the next one across the line. Only down in P13, and obviously as the Red Bull TP, would like to see the boys just up a little bit higher as Battle Cat somehow just manages to keep just an edge of that tyre in the track limits, but he crosses the line, and he only goes P12, so probably not the best of qualifying that the Battle Cat's seen, but hopefully he can make his way forward at least in the sprint.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be too worried, Scotty. We know Battle Cats has got great race pace, so I would have confidence he'll come back in the race. It's a decent showing. He's not too far from point in the sprint. 4 positions, anything can happen. So yeah,
Exactly
he's
right.
right in it.
Yeah, and as we sort of know, he likes to go a bit of the alternate strategy and possibly start on the hards. So we'll see.
And it looks like Mercy's about to come round the final corner and set a lap.
Yeah, so he needed this one. He's clear at the moment. Nada goes even quicker on a
Oh,
20,
and Nadab gets
20.7.
wow.
Great lap.
That
And
is
Mercy.
rapid.
Yeah,
And
Mercy.
Mercy to the second row.
Yeah, so he's doing a powers at the moment. As we hit 1 minute left in the session, Mercy needed the lap in and he got it.
He really did.
As we've lost one of the Alfa Romeos, he's in pit lane at the moment. Oh no, he's crashed out of the last corner actually. So haven't seen too many issues
Ooh, no.
with that.
Who's
But that's DDR.
Oh, it's Rain.
Toddy
Okay.
improves just slightly, but stays in P6. What about the other Astons? Just going to come across the line to start his final lap. As we've got the Haas of Gordo just starting his last one as well. Mertz is invalidated, but he's got 10 seconds. He should just make it across the line. As we hit 5, 4, he just makes it.
Yeah, he does.
So the other AlphaTauri of Elaine Santa, he gets the checkered flag. He goes P8 on a 21.5 just behind his teammate. So it's now going to be the last run of everybody. Nato's going to cross the line, but he won't improve. So he's got provisional pole at the moment. Parallel Aussie, he's got his teammate Toe, but he went wide, or he's probably lucky that he didn't invalidate that time actually. But
looks like he's pulled out.
Yeah, DRS, Parallel Aussie stays P6. Kaya goes into P4, so great lap from him. Toddy's lap is done. As we got the two Alpines T8 goes P3. Great lap from T8
P3,
there.
great from T8.
Yeah, Medi actually
Yeah.
validated, so he's only going to start P16. Batman goes up into P18. What about Bang? He's invalidated his lap time. Battle Cat's invalidated his lap time. What about Mertz? He's still good as he comes around the final corner. This is going to be the last position change if he can improve DRS. I think it's going to be close. 20. He just goes into the top 10. P8. So great lap from both Haas's actually. And that's our session done. And we have Adas and Martin
100%.
1-2.
Wow, I don't know about you, Scotty, but I'm really looking forward to the sprint race. That's look at those times. Look how close that is.
Yeah, exactly right. Like Nato seemed well in front halfway through this session, but the guys have been able to rein him in a little bit, but not quite enough. But Yusuf, great lap from the reserve, as well as T8 reserving for Alpine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
A
Ads
couple
will
of
be
great laps late from there.
Ads will be very happy with that. But yeah, T8 great lap from him, and yeah, I think it's a bit of a mixed up grid. Like Auto's not on pole. He's not on the first few rows actually. Where did Gordo finish? Actually, P12. So Gordo, actually, he's got some work to do, actually. As we look at the results on screen, NATO and Yusuf, as I said, Aston Martin locking out the front row. T8 and Mercy will be your second row. Mercy getting that late lap in. Kai, great job from him, P5. Marty, P6. PRL Aussie, P7. Mertz in P8. Toddy, P9. And then Elaine Senna rounds out the top 10. Harass 11th, Gordo, Sam, Battlecat, Bang, Medi, Broseph, Batman, Blue Dog, and DDR Rixin. Again, apologies if I pronounced that wrong, but that is your top 20. So we got an Alfa Romeo and a Williams starting from the back. But looking at that, we only had 14 drivers within a second. So top 14 within a second. And I think around this particular track, a lot of time that you can gain if you nail your apexes. So the two Assens did that. A few of the others probably going to have to work on it a little bit in the race as we load into the sprint. Remember, 10 laps, no no pit stops. And we actually do have a formation lap, so we can actually have a look at tyres before we get going. And Mookie,
Yeah, exactly right. I wonder.
Yeah, I was going to say, you went mediums, so what are we thinking of tyres?
Yeah. Yeah, no, mediums is really the only option for the sprint, to be honest. I mean, I haven't tried the softs, but I know a couple guys did, and they drop off very quickly. Yeah, I found this track is harsh on tires no matter what tires you're using. So in general, yeah, it's the softs are not going to make it the whole way, I don't think, or if they do, they won't have the pace of the mediums at the end.
Yeah, exactly right. As we do get underway for our formation lap, the two Assens lead us away, and we have a look at those tyres, and you're right, we got the mediums. Oh, we've lost a few of the drivers already. Power Lozzie and Toddy already disqualified. So those tyres are going to be
That'll
nice
be
and cold.
interesting.
Yeah, they're going to be nice and cold, but T8,
Yeah.
he's gone the soft tyre. So we had two last night on this in the sprint race going the aggressive strategy. T8, he's obviously thinking he wants to lead out of turn one, try and get this great start, and he might be able to get it done. But thoughts on T8 on the soft tyres? As he said, you just don't think the softs can make it, but we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it also depends on driving style, I guess. I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't have gone with the softs, but he may surprise us, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think that's what me and sort of Battlecat in the comms block last night was sort of saying, that I think, yeah, it's tyre wear is a big part of it in terms of what strategy you're going, but I think it's how smooth can you drive this car around this track, and can you be conservative with your tyre wear, because I think that's the big key with trying to win this race in both the sprint and feature. It's just trying to look after your tyres and possibly making that one stop actually possible.
Absolutely. I think if you can make the one-stop work, it probably is the better option. You saw last night, me and Quick Killer, we boxed for softs at the end for the two-stop, and if it wasn't for Powers running out of fuel, I mean, he would have beaten us by about 13 or so seconds. But Yeah, I mean, at that point, I had already accepted the P3. I stopped going for the win. I just wanted to make sure that I brought it home and didn't get that puncture. So, for me, it was a luxury to be able to pit. I don't know if these boys will be able to, but yeah, definitely, tire management is going to be a major, major thing, Scotty.
Yeah, exactly right. I think you've got to decide to actually say, all right, I'm going to do a two-stop in the feature pretty much before you even start the feature. I think that's probably the only way you can
Exactly.
realistically make your two-stop. You can sort of be a little bit flexible, but yeah, to make the two-stop definitely work, I think
And
you've got to just pretty much decide on the two-stop straight away.
100%. I see the last guys lining up. Going to take us away, Scotty.
Yeah, no worries. As we get underway very, very soon, just the guys, we've had about four disqualified on the field. On the track, I should say, but we do now have the lights. We've got 3, we've got 4, we've got 5. And the sprint is underway at Qatar, and it looked like a good start from both Aston Martins, but Mercy seemed to get a really good start as we nearly go 3 wide into turn 1. Can Mercy get the inside line? He's got past one Aston, and he's got past 2. That 2 Astons nearly have
He has.
contact. Oh, and that's a Haas spinning around. Oh, and the other Astons around too. And there's absolute chaos. Marty B is out.
Oi.
There was absolute chaos, and we have a virtual safety car.
Wow.
So that has, I think, one of the Astons got turned. Yusuf's got no front wing, as we do have a safety car, lap 1 of the sprint.
Wow.
So from
wow,
what I
Scotty.
yeah, so what I saw, I think Gordo's obviously had an issue at the back. He spun off, but he's probably lucky that he's spun off there because he's avoided all the carnage that's happened through turn 2. Yusuf's, we saw, had a spin, and then unfortunately Marty and a few of the other guys have just had nowhere to go. And having a look at the data, Yusuf's got front wing damage, Haras has got front wing damage, Gordo front wing damage, and T8's got front wing damage. So T8 obviously trying to go the soft tyre and try and be aggressive. Unfortunately, he's coming in for a new front wing, and he'll chuck on the medium tyres. But that great starting position that he had, that's now pretty much gone down the toilet. As we can sort
Yeah,
of
exactly right, Scotty. That's unfortunate for him. Yeah, a bit disappointing. It seems like a bit of a theme with Tier 2. I mean, we didn't have a single safety car last night in Tier 3, but as a Tier 2 steward, I do know we've had our fair share of carnage in Tier 2, but recently the boys have been good, so it's disappointing. I don't know if it was an accident, if someone lost the car, or if it was reckless. I guess we'll see after the race. But did you catch what happened there, Scotty? Did someone just spin, or...?
Yeah, we saw Yusuf spin on side. Not sure if he got touched, but yeah, he obviously spun, and unfortunately, he just
Yeah,
collected
looked
it.
like he got...
Collected everybody, unfortunately, as we
I
can
did. I
see.
saw... I think Yusuf did get contact from behind, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, unfortunate, because I always say safety cars ruin racing. But yep, hopefully it's the only one we'll see tonight. Nice open layout, and hopefully we can just let these boys go without too much interference.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, at least we know safety cars can get called at Qatar, considering that, yeah, we did see one last night. But Yusuf, hey, he's gone onto the soft tyres. Haras has gone onto the hard tyres as an interesting call.
That's a very
Uh,
interesting call.
yeah, and Terrence, obviously, as we know, he's gone onto the mediums, so I'm not too surprised about that particular thing. But Mercy, as I said before, he got the jump from P4 on the grid. He had the inside of NATO down at turn 1. And that sort of forced NATO a little bit wide, but yeah, great job from Mercy. Needed to get that job done straight away, as we will look at the position changes, because I know that there's a fair few, as you can see on your left-hand side of your
Yeah,
screen.
Merce has come out nicely.
Yeah, Broseph up 10 positions.
And Broseph, wow.
Yeah, DDR also up 10 positions. Sam's moved up 7. Lane Sanders moved up 6. Mertz up 5. And as you can sort of see down the bottom, your big losers, Cairo down 7. Yusuf down 13. Haras down 5. Tao down 16. And unfortunately, we've lost one car, and that's second in the championship, Marty. Who's down 14 positions. And unfortunately, we'll start this sprint race from dead last. So he's got some work to do.
Yeah, exactly right, Scotty. Not great for Marty. Not the track you want to be starting at the back, but we know Marty's quality and his consistency, so can never count him out. But yeah, I'm not quite sure Why these boys have gone on the hards, a couple of these guys, but
Maybe just trying to think, maybe they might be able to get the medium set, maybe save the medium set if they can. I didn't think the game
for
allowed
the
you to save the medium for the feature, but Harass maybe thinking a double medium to soft stint. As I said, if you're going to make the two-stop work, pretty
yep,
much just make it your primary strategy, I reckon. So we'll have to wait and see. But
yep, and that's
NATO,
the thing. If you're gonna go for the
sorry, go.
sorry, yeah, if you're gonna go for the two stop, you got to. I think you got to be aggressive from the start, you know, because you got to really make the most out of those tires. So exactly as you say, if you're gonna go for the two stop, you got to commit to it from the beginning. I think pretty much.
Yeah, exactly right. We should see the safety car in this lap as we come around turn 6 now, as we get the nice aerial view of that. NATO had the speed in quali. He'd be a little bit annoyed that he lost out to Mercy, but again, we'll still have 6 laps of racing for this sprint. And as we know, the DRS can be useful and a good overtaking opportunity down at turn 1. So I don't think he'd be too disappointed. And he did get away without any damage from that first few corners, few collisions there. But do we think Mercy can hold on for the sprint win, or do we think NATO or possibly even Mertz, who's actually moved up a few positions, can possibly come into play here?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, you know, personally, I think being in P2 in the sprint at least is actually the better position. I guess it also depends on your wings. You know, like personally last night I had very high wings, so I was happy to let Powers lead the entire sprint and overtake him on the last lap. You know, so if I'm Natobian, I'm not too disappointed. I'm happy to just stick in Mercy's DRS zone, build up my battery, and overtake him at the last lap. If I'm Mertz, I'm not so happy. I'd rather be in P2 than P3.
Yeah, exactly right. As I now realise that the DRR, it's Shadow. So Shadow, I'm just going to call you Shadow because I know that's probably an easier name to pronounce. But we are back underway. Green flag. Mercy's Lena Sawani's already going to the right hand side of the track to try and break the toe a little bit. But it looks like that we are going to be in formation. I say that, but we've got Broseph and Toddy going side by side. I think Toddy trying to go around the outside. He's got to try and hold it.
Gets the
And
move done.
yeah, that's actually a nice move from Toddy. Goes up to P7 off the restart. As we've all managed to do it, Blue Dog and Batman going side by side and managing to get it done. It's a little bit messy towards the back here. And we sort of saw this in Tier 3 as well, that it was sort of the mid to lower pack sort of just having battles with each other and already losing time to the top 11, let's just say.
Yeah, exactly right. And Batman seems to have lost quite a few places off that restart.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Hasn't got any damage from what I can tell, so just a little bit of a rough start. Oh, but I'm gonna go quickly up to the top because Nano's gonna try and go around the outside. I think he got squeezed a little bit, and he's gonna be off track once again. Got to make sure that he's back on track and gets it done. And this is going to allow Merce to potentially have a move around the outside at 15. No, he won't, but he'll a little bit of a snap from the Haas driver. But again, going to try and go around the outside, probably a little bit too wide. That could see a lane get involved in that. And Sam has gone past Parallel Aussie, so Sam's got a lot of pace in this opening lap restart as we come down into turn 1. A lot of guys. We got Toddy down into P6. Could make this 3 wide down the inside of Sam. Gets it sort of done, but unfortunately he loses the position just with the chaos that's sort of happening. So he loses the spot to Parallel Aussie. So he's back into P7. But this is a very, very tight train up the front. And NATO obviously didn't want to wait till DRS. He feels like he's got a lot of pace to burn now. As we run down in through turn 11, a few of the positions getting passed further down. Thankfully, we are right, and all that battling sort of helped close. We've lost Harass. He's had a spin. Yeah, turn 7, unfortunately. So don't think he's got any damage, but unfortunately he's at the back of the pack. But now NATO again, he likes this area of track, and he's actually got the move done. So NATO he obviously likes the exit of turn 10, getting out of there very smooth, and he gets the job done. Mercy's just going to have to tuck back in as Mertz is trying to defend off the AlphaTauri. Oh, and that's wide for Mertz. So I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a warning there. Got to be careful. We know how tough the penalties are around here and how easily guys were picking them up last night. As we start lap 6 now, Nato leads us away, and he does pick up the fastest lap. Obviously, no points for fastest lap in the sprint. That just shows his pace at the moment.
And now his teammate takes that fastest lap away from him, Scotty. The Aston's looking really quick tonight.
Yeah, and it's just a shame. Obviously, he's on the soft tyre, is Yusuf, but he'd be super annoyed that he unfortunately had that mistake or had that issue at turn 2. But I think we've got Shadow potentially trying to send the move down on Kaya. Kaya obviously was one of the bigger losers. Unfortunately, after that first lap melee, Toddy's still stuck behind Parallel Aussie. As NATO, about 8/10, all yellow flag. We've lost Blue Dog.
Yeah, no.
So he's had a spin. He's collected the wall and he's got front wing damage. T8 has also got front wing damage, as you can see in the background. He's losing his left end plate. And that allows for us, after his spin, to go down the inside. So just a few of these guys having issues. Nato's nearly got out of DRS of Mercy.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, Scotty. If you can break the DRS, you definitely should. But it's not a bad idea to let the other car overtake and hang in their DRS. But
yeah, we've got Shadow spinning the wrong way. So he's now facing the right way. So, and he takes out a few of the boards.
Takes out the brake marker boards.
Actually, and that's gonna be a penalty, because you're not meant to intentionally take out the braking board. So Shadow, that's a slap on the wrist for you.
And he picks up the 3 second at the same time.
Yeah, that's probably deserved. So a bit naughty there from Shadow. You're not meant to do that. But Mercy, he's actually closed. He's actually fallen out of DRS. Mertz as well. He's struggling to. Oh, and there's a bit of a touch from the Haas and the AlphaTauri, and both of them are off. So Mertz will not be happy with that. It was just a little touch of a lane center, and unfortunately he couldn't save it. So Yusuf goes past as well. So I feel like there's going to be a report that stewards may have to look at, as Kyle, I think, ran slightly off track. We're currently in P8. So it's a McLaren 2-3 at the moment. Parallel Aussie will lead us in this little train that we've got, Sam and Toddy. So we know Sam and Toddy have been quick in the last couple of laps, so we'll see how far they can sort of get up the field. As Gordo picks up a 3-second time penalty. Gordo down in P13 after getting involved in that little issue, as he was thinking about a move on Medi as we come down to the final corner. He decides to just hold off, and he'll get a better exit and should get DRS to send the move down into turn 1. But again, we're seeing Gordo's got absolutely no battery, and that's the issue. You've got to manage your ERS usage. Gordo does get the move done because he just had a nice exit out of the final corner, but he now just doesn't have anything to sort of break away from the car behind. And Medi, if he can sort of hang in there, can possibly get the move back on the next lap.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm just on board with Kaya. He's looking very racy at the moment.
Yeah, he sends the move down the inside. Yeah, just a little bit of a slide. Yeah, a little bit of a slide from from Kaya, I should say. But he's looking quick. Just needs to find a way, as he nearly runs all 4 wheels off the track, but gets away with it. And Nato gets a 2-second lead over Mercy, who has a 3-second lead over this train of cars leading from Parallel Aussie, Sam, Toddy, Broseph, Battlecat, Kai, Mertz, and Eustace caught on the back of this train. So those softs are still working nicely for him. So we'll see if he can actually find his way through a couple of these cars, as we've got 2 laps left to go, as Nato does cross the line to begin lap 9 of 10 of the sprint at Qatar. Mercy sort of on his own at the moment, and then you can sort of see in the background that big train from Parallel Aussie, Sam, Toddy.
Toddy looks like he wants to send it.
He didn't, but Battlecat's definitely going to try and send it on Broseph. Yeah, Battlecat tried to send it on Broseph as well, but couldn't quite get it done. Batman and Medi. Medi's just struggling at the moment. Oh, and that's a McLaren in the wall, and that Mercedes in the wall, I should say, and that's Batman. I just saw that before I switched over, and Batman, he's out, so he's going to start the feature from P19. So not what he
Unfortunate
would
for
have wanted.
Batman, not a good result for him.
Yeah, that's super unlucky. Kyra and Battle Cat fighting. So Battle Cat got back past Kyra. As
Yep, and
Fields.
Toddy's still all over Sam, who's all over Ozzy.
Exactly right. Toddy seems to take a bit of a narrower line through turn 10, but that sort of doesn't quite help him through these particular corners because Sam just has the better exit. And that's sort of what you got to look for, is just trying to get the exit out of these corners. It's very tempting to chuck a move down the inside, but the car on the outside on the racing line tends to get the better exit and able to defend, as Yusuf picks up a 3-second time penalty. So we've got 3 picking up penalties at the moment as we start our final lap. Nato crosses the line, but it's going to be this battle for P3 at the moment. Peril Aussie has a 4/10 lead coming into turn 1. I think he's just going to be right. He does. Sam can't quite have the pace. But can he potentially send something as we come around turn 2? And there's a little bit of a touch.
Ooh.
That's going to allow Toddy to have the better run through turn 3. And that was a nice, I'd say a nice move from Toddy, as we got, I think that was Mertz in the Battle Cat. Mertz was completely off track, and he's going to go around the outside of the Red Bull, giving each other just plenty of room as Yusuf's trying to take advantage, but Battle Cat does hold it. So he remains in P8, Kai P7. Brosef's doing a good job holding P6. And can Sam get that position back from Toddy that he lost? But I think just not really an overtaking spot around this particular area. Maybe the drive out of turn 10, but Toddy, that looked alright, as he's got the red fuel light on. So we have got the safety car, so that has saved a lot of these drivers, I reckon. So they should be right, but you can just see Toddy taking a bit of a narrower line. Aussie I should say, just runs a little bit off track, but maybe pick up a warning, but that's about it. But we'll head back to the lead. NATO, he lost the lead at the start, but the great overtake around turn 11, and he will pick up the sprint race victory as Battle Cat picks up.
Gonna be very close for Toddy.
As we scroll down, Toddy.
Ozzy just pips him on the line, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, great race between those 3 as we've got the rest of the drivers coming across the line. Battle Cat, that hurts that 3-second that he picked up out of the last corner. He drops a couple of spots. Lane Sandon just finishing inside the top 10. Yusuf with his 3-second drops a couple of spots. And as we wait for Shadow to come across the line, he'll be disappointed. He looked like he had pace early on. P16, and then T8 and Blue Dog, the 2 guys that had to box for another front wing after getting involved in certain incidents, as we come around the final corner with Blue Dog. So he'll finish P18 and start the feature in 18th. But great racing from NATO, as we saw, but also the 2 McLarens. Nice pace from them in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great pace, and yep, good job to Natobi, and that was good of him to break out of DRS. That was a really good job from him, and just keep going. That was awesome pace. But I'll be excited to see what happens in the race, because yeah, I think tyre management will come into it more in the race. You know, in the sprint, you can be fairly sure your mediums will go the distance, and you can go flat out all the way. But well done to these guys. A few very happy drivers. I know Broseph and Sam are each up, I think, 11 and 8 positions respectively. So these guys will be very happy, and some won't be, hey?
Exactly right. Yeah, great effort from him. And then obviously, yeah, Broseph from pretty much last nearly on the grid. But yeah, Nato picks up the full 8 points from Mercy from Parallelogy. That's your sprint race podium. Toddy, great speed from him, as we said. Sam and Broseph, great job. Kyo as well had good pace, just couldn't quite get the moves done. Mertz obviously involved in that incident late on, but still finishes P8. Battle Cat and Elaine Sandert just rounds out the top 10, but possibly a steward's inquiry for him. Yusuf, after that first lap incident, unfortunately down in P11, but he'll still have 29 laps to feature. And then Medi, Bang, Gordo, Harass, Shadow, T8, Blue Dog, and then unfortunately our 2 DNFers was Batman and then Marty B. We lost all the way at lap 1, turn 2. So hasn't done a lot of racing as Marty B, but hopefully he can fight his way through this field and yeah, probably show us some of the speed that we know that he does have. But as I said, not too many points on offer for the sprint, but the feature is going to be where the big points are handed out. So hopefully Marty can find himself into the points paying position. Remember, top 15 scoring points, 24 points for a race win, and you get a point for fastest lap as well. But
Yeah, exactly right. A couple of these boys will be looking to fight their way up this field, I think, Toddy. Sorry, got confused there. Sorry about that. I meant Scotty, not Toddy. A few of these guys will be looking to fight their way up the field. But yeah, not an easy track to overtake. Strategy can come into it in a big way. So if you can't get the overtake done on track, sometimes you can get it done in the pits. So it'll be very interesting to see the strategies these lads go for, and yeah, how conservative they are with their tire management and fuel, and yep, just a very exciting race.
exactly right. And as we wait for the guys to get on the grid for the formation lap, as I said, we've sort of discussed on what we're looking for the race, but maybe a few of the drivers, in your opinion, that could go quite well. As we said, NATO and Mercy were sort of out in front, had nowhere, and I think we did see last night, if you get sort of stuck in a train and you sort of keep battling, that allows the cars in front to really get away. As we sort of said last night, yourself, Quick Killer, and Powers, you sort of managed to get a really nice gap. I think it was 10, 11 seconds. So in this particular instance, do you try and hold your position as much as you can, or do you just try and maybe don't fight the guy behind you and sort of just try and keep pace with the top guys?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, the thing is, you don't want to lose DRS. That's the thing, especially in the DRS train. You don't want to fall ahead of you don't want to fall away from those guys ahead of you. So you definitely don't want to be just letting everyone pass you. But at the same time, I think you don't want to waste too much time, like you said, Scotty, in fighting. And I think it also comes down to strategies. Knowing who your battles are against. It comes down to smart racing. You don't need to always have the higher position. So it comes into smart thinking and strategy sometimes, especially on a track like this where there's not much room for overtaking. So yeah, it'll just be interesting to see.
Yeah, exactly right. And obviously, as we can see the tyres on screen, your thoughts on obviously NATO. He's going the hard tyres, but he's going to have the disadvantage off the start with 3 medium runners behind him.
Yeah, I think initially he might, but I actually think it is the better strategy. I wanted to do it last night, and I just went with the safer option. But I think, as I mentioned, the tire wear is not that different depending on your compound. Yes, the hards will be a bit slower at first, but if he can sort of at least keep with that front group, his mediums at the end will be much, much better. I think you want to get the most out of your better tires on the lighter fuel load. So yeah, I think it's actually a good call from Nato, but we'll have to see if it pays off because, of course, like you say, he's got those medium runners right behind him.
Yeah, and he's got Mercy took the lead from P4 on the grid, so he's right next to him this time around. So he might be a little bit worried that he may not be leading into the first turn. But good to see you, quite Kate, in the chat. Who do you think's going to win this? Obviously, NATO picking up the sprint race victory. Oh, he's disqualified, so he's going to be moved a couple of metres back. I think Mercy and Paralozzi, they're going to be dangerous to try and get past the Aston Martin. But as we've got all the cars now lined up, Marty B at the back, as we just sort ourselves back out, we've got the lights, as it shuffles me down to 14th for whatever reason, we've got all 5 lights. As we have 29 laps remaining at Qatar, and we are underway, and again, Mercy gets the better start. He's got the inside line as well, so can NATO hanging around the outside? No, he can't. Obviously, those hard tyres, just a little bit of an issue, but Toddy, as well, up into P3, gets past the McLaren. And as we go through turn 2, and it seems to be fairly clean at the moment, as we've got side-by-side action between Kaya and Mertz, as we've got Kaya taking out one. Yeah, it's Kaya completely off the track at the moment, so hopefully these guys sort themselves out. And we've got a spinner at the back, that's Yusuf again having a moment on the first lap.
Oi, not great for Yusuf. But we've got Mertz all over Sam. And yeah, exactly right. Like you said, Scotty, Mercy, a good start in the sprint race and a good start again here in the feature. I think he'll be really looking to break out of that DRS zone as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly right. As we've got a little bit of a congestion in the mid-pack, and that sort of allowed sort of the top 7 to get away. Gordo, he's lost 2.5 seconds, but he's on those soft compounded tyres as Haras is really hounding the Haas driver in front of him. So as we sort of said, it's sort of losing that. Oh, I think Gordo actually might have some wing damage actually. Yeah, he does. That's sort of why he's lost all that time. So that's unfortunate. So Gordo just getting out of the way of the other drivers as we've got Shadow in and Yusuf as well. So they were the 3 to pick up wing damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
Mercy
unfortunate for those drivers.
as
But it's a long
T8.
race ahead.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
Yeah, I was just going to say both Alpines pass Haras as well. So Haras maybe not getting the best exit out of the final corner. Obviously towed on those soft tyres, and he's managed to avoid a little bit of damage. As we do see team orders, Medi lets T8 through. Probably a smart idea being that T8's on 2 compound softer tyre.
yeah, T8's having made up 9 positions already. That's a great start from T8.
As I try and switch the wrong one, there we go. Positions you can see. A couple of positions swapped up the front, but as you said, it was T8 on the soft tyres. He's avoided all the carnage and moved up 9 position. Brosef's down 6.
Yusuf lost out, yeah.
Yeah, Yusuf down 7, obviously, with that spin and pit as well. So really unfortunate for him. But out front, Mercy using those medium tyres to good effect at the moment. Up nearly broke DRS. Obviously, DRS won't be activated down this straight, but it will be next time by. But Toddy doing a good job hanging in P3. Power Aussie hasn't lost a lot of spots. Sam as well as Mertz as well holding in there. Kai's just dropped out of that DRS range. But again, he's still holding a good P7 as Mercy picks up the fastest lap at the moment, 25.5, but obviously heavy fuel. As we see Blue Dog getting the move back past Brosef. So a little bit of a train. Does Brosef send the move back down into turn 1? Blue Dog takes a wider line and that covers the move off. So Blue Dog stays P12. You can sort of see that the field's sort of definitely spread out a lot more than what we saw in the sprint, and that's sort of just the battles and the little incidents. Obviously no safety car this time around, unlike the sprint which we had lap 1, as NATO's actually dropped out of a second. Oh, and we've got plenty of movement right, back.
Yep, Brosef dropping down a lot of positions. His teammate now passed him, Marty B up to 13th, so yeah, slowly working his way up this field. Our second in the championship contender.
Yeah, up 7, so he's kept out of trouble, which is what he would have wanted. He's gone the medium tyres, so just trying to get a bit of ground. As we got Bang and Batman fighting. Batman losing the position of Bang up into P16 is the Alfa Romeo driver. Mertz really hounding the back of Sam as we get DRS for the first time. I think Mertz won't be able to do anything because Sam's got DRS on the car in front, as he's potentially going to have a move done. Gets it done side by side. We've got potentially... Oh, no, Sam's lost it.
And Sam spun.
Oh,
no, that's unfortunate for Sam.
Super annoyed with that, but he'd be thankful that he didn't hit the wall, because that's not what he would have wanted. But
could be worse.
Exactly right. You're just going to have to be a little bit careful. Those tyres will just be a little bit warm. So just got to be a little bit careful these next couple of corners. Meanwhile, Toddy has gotten past NATO. So he needed to do that on the medium tyres. So down at turn 1 again. So great job from the Red Bull driver, but he's got NATO right on his tail. And I think if you're NATO, do you just stick behind the Red Bull and just see if you can drag you back up to Mercy?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think NATO's actually done a good job to, because he's not only lost DRS himself, but he's kept Toddy out of DRS of Mercy as well. So Toddy on that better tyre, he'll be not so happy that he's dropped out of DRS on that better tyre. So yeah.
Exactly right. As we come through turn 15 on the board with NATO, and you can sort of see there's a battle for P4 as well. Parallel Aussie and Mertz as well, very, very close together. But we'll wait and see if NATO gets the move done as we are about to start lap 5. Mercy, 1.7 second lead, obviously on the medium tyre.
Yep, Mertz goes down the inside of Aussie, gets the move done.
Yeah, so Nato gets the move back on Toddy, and as you said, Mertz gets the move done on Paralozzi. So 2 moves down at the final, at the first corner. We've got side-by-side action between Elaine
Yep.
and Medi and Sam as well, who sort of involved after his spin on the previous lap. So Elaine in P9, Medi in P10, Sam in P11. And we've got Marty in P12, so he's moved up another position on Blue Dog, and he's got a lot of cars in front of him that he'd like to just start picking off one by one.
Yeah, exactly right. Do you have any idea how we're looking on tyre percentages, Scotty?
I can see the medium runners are about 30% already as Sam, first driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. So that's one thing the drivers are gonna have to be
Yep.
aware of in this race to pick up, not to pick up needless warnings. They've got to be within track limits because you can move up a lot of positions if you can keep it within the white lines. But
Yeah, exactly right.
you're
That's a
definitely
very
right.
early penalty for Sam. He'll want to keep it clean for the rest of the race.
Yeah, but definitely you're looking at mid-30s for the medium tyre runners. But again, it's just those guys that can sort of manage their tyres, and it's going to be interesting to see. So Mercy obviously out in
Yes,
front, no clean air as Toddy gets
yep,
the move back past NATO, down into turn
yep.
1.
And T8 gets the move done on Kaya as well. I think this is actually the trend you'll start to see is you don't really want to fight the guy behind you too much to not lose too much time. And the DRS is so powerful down that main straight. So, I think we'll see a few of these position changes, back and forth. It's actually smart racing rather than waste time fighting each other. Just work together, let the guy pass, and you'll pass him the next lap or 2 laps later, whatever. So, yeah, I think it's smart racing from these guys.
Might be smart racing, but that might just also be the pace. Oh, Toddy has a big moment coming through turn 8, I believe, and that's allowed NATO to really get on the back, and he runs wide. NATO down
And
the
that is down the
inside.
inside.
As we get a
Exactly
better
right.
camera angle, we're going to be too wide. We saw NATO's liking the run out of turn 10, and NATO holds the position, but again, it's another 7/10 loss to the leader, and Mercy can go
Yep.
into a bit of time management now, knowing that he's got a bit of a gap, and this has brought Mertz and Paralozzi onto this train too, so these two sort of fighting or having moments, it's not really helping him, and I'd imagine Toddy will now try and get the move back past to overtake and get second back into turn 1 again. We'll have to wait and see as we are on board with the Red Bull driver. It closes in, and NATO goes defensive, and Toddy tries to hang around the outside, and that's the thing, as NATO has a little bit of a snap-on exit. That's the thing, you go defensive, that just slows you down even more, and look at Mertz really putting the pressure on the Red Bull now.
Yeah, exactly right. Toddy's under a lot of pressure. His battery's really low. He's flashing, and he's got Mertz right up his gearbox. So, yep, Toddy definitely under pressure.
Yeah,
But,
Perez just dropped a little bit, so he might just be struggling a little bit with his medium tyres at the moment. Gordo picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's having a shocking race. He's the championship leader at the moment, P20. He had a spin earlier on, and he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. So he'd still race because there could be a couple of points in it if people start having issues, but he's not going to pick up a lot of points and lose a lot of points to Mercy, actually. So we'll wait and see as Toddy's actually just about to lose DRS from NATO. So I think he will if he can't take this exit nicely. I don't think he will. And NATO's obviously got a bit of battery to burn. So Toddy won't have DRS to cover from Mertz as we round the final corner. So watch for the Haas to pretty much just breeze by, I reckon. It's closing.
yep,
Toddy.
looks like he's going to send it down the inside.
Yeah, Toddy half defended, but Toddy's still got the inside for the next corner if he can hang it, but he can't. So Mertz up into P3. So Toddy, look at it, his tyre wear. Toddy's chewing up his tyres at the moment compared to the guys around him. So that's why he's struggling a little bit as Elaine Sander picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, exactly right. It looks like Toddy's pushing quite hard. But Mertz driving really nicely. He's picked up a lot of positions. Seems to be playing well.
T8. And he's sitting
T8,
right in the middle of the track. They just managed all to avoid him. But T8, his softs, can't tell. No, his softs are gone. Let's just say that. So that's not
Yeah,
surprising that he's had a bit of a spin. So I'd imagine he'd want off them as quickly as possible and possibly go onto a set of hard tyres.
yeah, agreed. He should get off those softs ASAP.
And that's the thing. That's just sort of
But
the softs are quick, but that's just with the tyre wear around here. I think with heavy fuel as well. I think a soft's not a bad idea if it's your last tyre with low
at the
fuel.
end, exactly. Yeah,
As we've
100%.
lost, I
Another
think
yellow.
I thought it was Bang, but it's Shadow. He's in the wall and facing the wrong way out of turn 5 as he manages just to recorrect eventually. He's got going again, so unfortunately he's now plumb last on those 6-lap old hard tyres. As
Yeah,
Merce,
not looking great, but at least we haven't had any DNF so far.
yeah, exactly right. Everyone's still running as Marty gets past a lane for P8, so Marty's looking good fighting through this field. Obviously, a couple of guys have had spins and a couple of issues further on that have allowed him to pretty much get free overtakes, but Marty's doing an alright job as Shadow spun once
Another
again.
yellow Shadow again.
And that's a virtual safety car. Do we see the full safety car? How has he gone? So he's obviously, they're warm tyres from his last spin, and he's hit the wall. He's got front wing, but we've got no safety car. I think, do you use it? Do you take this opportunity to make a pit stop?
I wouldn't. I think that's a bit too long, depending on the tyre you're on. I mean, you can maybe make the hard go, what's it, 20, 21 laps, but if you're on the hards, I wouldn't go to the mediums right now.
So you feel if someone makes a pit stop now, you're pretty much locking yourself into the 2-stop.
Yeah, I would say so as Mercy goes past.
Mercy stays out. Oh, Nato comes in.
And Nato's in. That's an interesting call.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is very interesting. So he's going to go medium tyres and then possibly softs at the end. Mertz is following in him. Toddy stays out. Parallelsy stays out. It'll be interesting to see what these two drivers go on to, because we're still under the VSC, so it is a free pit stop. You will gain some time on the drivers who stop under green flag. We've got some more drivers coming in now. So Nada goes onto the set of mediums as I thought. Darius is now enabled.
Yep.
So they didn't take advantage of the full
Blue Dot picks up
VSC.
a 5-second.
Yeah, so I think that was speeding, but as we've got a few little congestion around turn 1, Sam and Lane Santa down the inside of Sam. Not quite, but Medi around the outside too. So Nato's come out in P10 on the medium tyre, so he will get an advantage as we've got Medi on the inside of the AlphaTauri. They can just get it still side by side as we come through turn 6.
Yeah, getting the elbows out there.
Exactly right.
Not afraid to cuddle these two.
Yeah, they're still side by side. Medi on the hard compounded tyres, as I think he's gotten the job done. He has a little bit of a wiggle on the curb, but I think that's job done. Or a little bit of lag from the lane, but he's now sorted himself out. So Nato, he might be on the medium tyres. He's got a bit of traffic, but those mediums should definitely help him as he does get past the Battle Cat. I don't think Battle will fight him too hard, and he doesn't. Coming around turn 12. We've got Toddy coming into the pitch as well. So this is going to be the interesting call as Nato picks up a 3-second time penalty. Can Toddy slow it up? He can. So Nato, we'll see how much more of an advantage he does get on the guys that stayed out. But again, Nato is on the 2-stop strategy. He's going to be well past Toddy now, so he has got an advantage from that. As Nato, with the brand new fresh rubber, goes down the inside of a lane, doesn't hold it, but he does fight it in the second part of the corner, and he does get it done.
Gets moved done, yeah.
So if you're Mercy now, do you just try and extend it as much as you can? Oh, and he tries to switch back on Medi. And he does get the job done. Great effort from him as Harass has left the session. So can I get you to quickly invite Harass back? He's currently in P3. Don't want to let him be out of the lobby too long. As Nato goes around the outside at turn 11. There's still slight contact. Or sorry, turn 8. I was at the wrong corner, but Nato does get the move done, so he's up into P5, and that's just how much grip he's got on a fresh set of tyres. And we saw that last night as well, that if you can clear traffic quite quickly, if you can make the tyres work and conserve them, or you pretty much do the two stop, there's a lot of grip compared to the guys that are struggling on the 10 lap old hard tyres that have got a fair bit of wear of them now, as Medi picks up a 3-second time penalty because of that. And I'm just having a look as Kaio and Haras go side by side. Obviously, Haras left the session. I think he's back in now, hopefully. As Kaio down the inside, up into P3. So, nice move there. Finds himself in the podium at the moment, but obviously yet to stop. I'd imagine Nato is the effective race leader as Toddy goes past Lane as he comes into the pit lane, but Toddy's lost a lot of time. As I quickly have a look at the leader, Toddy 29 seconds, Nato 16, so he lost 13 seconds because of that. And Nato's only 15 seconds off the lead of this race, so he will take the race lead, but I really don't see those mediums going 20 laps.
That's the thing, Scotty. He's looking good right now, but his advantage on those fresher tyres will fall away the further we go into this race, So, yeah, definitely a bold call from him, but could work if he builds enough of a gap.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, as I said, he only has to get the mediums. If he can get the mediums to about lap, I say 21, he can chuck on a set of soft tyres and he will be golden to the end. But he just needs to make this medium stint last a little bit longer at power. A little bit of lag on my side, but he will come in. He gets it stopped as Data goes around the outside of Haras. Not sure if Haras is still in AI, but Kai up into P2. Nada moves up into P3. Oh, but Haras is fighting back. Not sure if that's the AI or not, but Nada goes around the outside and gets the job done. That's 9 laps difference in medium tyres. Nato needed to do that. So up into P3, and he's only 13 seconds off the lead of this race. Broseph got a 3-second time penalty. Mertz gets past the Battle Cat again on those on the fresher hard tyres. And you can just see moves happening all down the field. That's just because of the guys on the fresh tyres. So it's pretty much going to be a battle of who does the 1-stop, who does the 2-stop.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what's going to make this race so interesting, Scotty, is that there may not be a lot of overtaking opportunities on track, but the strategies are going to make a real difference where you end up.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see Mertz right behind Medi. And again, it's just got to be tyre grip as Haras is now back into the session. So hopefully he hasn't lost too much time as Mertz down around the outside. Got the better exit, but Medi did cover the line well, but you can just see how much more grip I'd imagine the Haas driver will have around here. Definitely around turn 14, he had big grip, but again, you can just see him lifting off the throttle because he just had more grip than Medi. So I reckon it'll be an easy move.
Very frustrating for him, but...
Yeah, easy move down at turn 1. Mercy's coming into the pit lane now, and you can already see Nato is clear off into the distance. As Mertz does get down the inside of Medi even before turn 1 and able to take the racing line, and that is job done. Mercy comes out just in front of Toddy, but you can have a look at that. Toddy had a big deficit to Mercy, and just those 3 laps on those hard tyres, Mercy's been able to... Toddy's been able to completely close that gap, but obviously Mercy... He's got obviously the distance to potentially get to the end as T8 and Marty are fighting for P10.
Yeah, they're having a spicy little battle.
Yeah, T8 down the inside, gets it, just misses out. But one thing to note is that T8's got the yellow fuel light on, so he will have to save some fuel in the not too distant future if he wants to get to the end of this race. So Marty holds P10 at the moment.
So Mert's still right on the back of... Ooh, as Nato picks up another 3-second.
And just switched over to him, and he was just wide at turn 15. That picks up his second penalty of the night. As you can see, the penalty's on screen. Nato's already picked up 6 seconds. Kaio, Mertz, Battle Cat, as Battle Cat sorry, Medi comes into the pit lane. I was wondering why I was dropping spots, but you can see a few of the guys picking up 3 seconds. Sam's got 9 seconds. Blue Dog, I think, has 5 for speeding in pit lane. Mertz and Hurrah still fighting. And then finally Mertz gets the job done on Harass. So he sort of wanted to get rid of that battle last time around, but unfortunately not quite, as we got a few of the arrows just with the guys coming in the pit. So Medi's down in P16 at the moment, but you can see NATO 5-second lead over Kyo, who still hasn't stopped yet. So he's obviously making the one-stop work, but he needs to go a little bit longer to make those mediums last, even on low fuel.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm Kaya, I'm feeling comfortable because, you know, NATO's got that 6-second penalty, and those mediums will start to drop away very soon.
Yeah, exactly
So,
right.
so if Kaya can make the one-stop work, he's looking good.
Yeah, as we've got Mercy in the Battle Cat, and Mercy gets the job done on the fresh tyres around the outside, and Battle Cat lets Toddy through. So good team play by Red Bull. Good to see Red Bull up there in 6th and 7th at the moment. Battle Cat obviously yet to stop, but he's definitely going to try and make the one-stop work as he does come in now. So he's going to go 14 laps on the medium tyres, as he had 71% on those hard tyres, so they would not have been feeling good as Kaya comes in as well. He hit 93 on those hard tyres. No
Wow,
wonder why he had to come in. I'm surprised he actually didn't get a
that's
puncture, to be
that's
fair.
incredible. Yep. No, he's got bigger balls than me, Scotty. I would not take my hards or any tire to 91%. Definitely not. So, yep, definitely required that stop. But I think they've made a good call. If they can make the one-stop work, I do think they will have the edge on the likes of Nado, who we think is going to try the two-stop, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And we know, and speaking to Kai just before we went live, Kai definitely knows to put a lot of fuel in, so he will be able to, he's pretty much going to be able to push all the way through, whereas I think we've only got the one light from what I can see from T8. Everyone else is still at least comfortable on their fuel. We'll have to wait and see as Toddy now on harass around the outside of turn 11, and again it's just the fresh tyres out of turn 10. It's just the nature of this circuit. Just with the flowing corners, traction is key, and you can see that as Harass gets another position lost and still staying out. He's on 15 lap on
Yeah,
medium tyres. See something I'm going to make this medium soft work.
he could. Um, it's a brave call, but that's what makes this race so exciting. Hey, is that there's so many different strategy calls. But yeah, what's his medium sitting at, Scotty?
Only 77% actually. Having a look at it, so he's really managing those tyres well. Might be setup related or just how he drives the car, but that will definitely help him.
Yeah,
So he might be actually able to make the soft tyres work, and he's actually still running into the top 5. But yeah, obviously we've seen other drivers really burn out their tyres, and Harass is actually one of the drivers that's been able to actually manage them quite a bit, as Batman loses a couple of spots from Bang and Medi, and Yusuf and Broseph. Broseph comes into the pit lane. Obviously, as you can see, we've only lost Shadow from the race. 19 drivers left. Gordo's still running at the back. He's probably out of round to forget, to be honest, but we quickly switch back up to P2, Mertz and Mercy, and Mercy gets the job done through turn 11. So Mercy, as you can sort of see there, 11.1 seconds. You'd imagine Nato's got to make another pit stop, but he's going to be absolutely flying at the end. But again, it's NATO's track limit, 6 seconds worth of penalties. That could be what does cost him this race, I reckon.
yeah, exactly right, Scotty. You called it from the beginning. The track limits penalties could really come back to hurt you at the end.
Oh, and
So
Mercy's not going to want this. Mertz gets the move back past. So Mercy with the younger tyres just wants to try and get after NATO and close that gap down a little bit, but unfortunately he's in the fight that he doesn't want to be in, and Mertz gets back P2. As Kai sets the fastest lap, obviously really quick on those medium tyres, 24.2. As we got Harass, he was 5th in that train, but he's dropped all the way back down to 16th. But he has gone onto the soft tyres, so it'll be very interesting to see as T8 picks up a 3-second time penalty, how those soft tyres are at the end. And quite amazed that he will
So,
possibly try and get the medium soft to actually work around here.
yeah, I agree, Scotty. I mean, I think it's going to be close though. He's going to have to do, what, 11 laps on those softs, which is basically the length of the sprint. So it's still not going to be easy, but as you said, Harass does manage his tires really well. So yeah, if he can do that, then good on him.
Yeah, as Mercy has got back past Mertz, but again, it might be the same situation where Mertz is going to have to... so Mercy's going to have to cover and probably lose out once again. Mercy sort of needs to... He needs to pull away, but unfortunately he's not been able to. And Mercy completely goes to the inside. He's going to try and cover the inside line now. But DRS from the Haas driver. I think Mercy's trying to burn his battery. Does Mertz send it? No, he doesn't. So this is what Mercy now needs. Can he pull away and start closing that gap? A little bit of info for you as Medi picks up a 3-second time penalty. Last lap from NATO was a 26.3. Mercy's last lap was a 26.8. So that's half a second in the favour of NATO. So those mediums are still working quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if Mercy and Mertz are smart, they'll work together. They won't fight too much because I think at the moment, if they can keep pace with Nato, at least within half a second lap times, NATO's penalties are going to be a real disadvantage, and those mediums will also start to drop off, and the hards will, take over. So, yeah, I think they don't want to waste too much time.
Yeah, well, I think that battle's pretty much over now because Mertz is 1.5 seconds off. So it'll be interesting to see what Mercy can do in terms of clear air lap time because, yeah, Mertz was obviously holding him up. So we'll see as NATO's coming in. So this is a interesting call. He does manage just to slow it down. So I'd imagine soft tyre. I'd imagine soft tyres because he shouldn't have another medium set. I'd imagine. And yes, he is going soft tyres. Yep. So he comes back out. We got a yellow flag. Gordo has retired. So championship leader gets 0 points. So that's really going to hurt him. NATO, where does he drop down? He's going to have to fight through some traffic as he gets past Sam. He does hold the position just, and those softs will heat up very quickly. But NATO down in P7. He is 12.5 seconds off the lead of this race as Harass picks up the fastest lap, 23.9 on those brand new set of soft tyres. As Battle Cat gets past Blue Dog for P12. Battle Cat obviously on those brand new medium tyres as well. So it's definitely going to be a fascinating end to this race. As NATO, NATO, he's going to have to force his way in. Just look at the different lines he's taking and how much more grip he's got over Marty B. Couldn't quite find a way. He's going to find all sorts of different lines to try and get the move done. And how much more grip he's got through turn 10 already down the inside, and this is going to be an easy move at the spot that he likes at turn 11 as we've lost Sam having another spin in the background. He has picked up rear wing damage as well. So if that car was not quite
ideal.
Yeah, so if it wasn't to his liking already, he's going to be absolutely struggling, especially around this track where you need all the downforce you can.
Yeah, I don't think you would... I think you'd forgive him for retiring in the pits. I think it would be quite difficult to drive that car at this point.
Exactly right. Battle Cat picks up a 3-second time penalty in 10th. As I'll quickly switch, NATO gets past T8. T8 didn't make that too difficult. So NATO, he's got a 9-second lead, 9-second disadvantage. As I think we've lost Sam through turn. Yellow. I think that was Sam through turn 8. Harass gets past Battle Cat, and yeah, it was Sam. Again, it's that front wing, the rear wing, and he's going to come into the pit lane, and I would imagine to retire that car, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's race over for Sam. But Nado's softs really doing him well. It looks like he's about to get past Aussie any moment.
Exactly, around the outside, if you don't mind. Fabulous move there from Nado up into P4. Quite cake, you might be right that even with the pens, Nado might actually have this race in the bag, but as I said, those soft tyres will really start to be degrading when he does get to Mercy, I reckon, and if he can hold them up, but he's making the most of the pace at the moment, up into P4. So as I quickly switch back to the leader, his gap's down to 7.6. We'll just leave it at that for the time being. Just keep an eye on how quickly Nato is catching. So 17 left in this race. Obviously got to be a little bit careful. No, thankfully Sam's car has disappeared, so no problems there. But I've just seen Nato's fuel lights just come on as he's just at the fastest lap, 23.7. So Nato's going to have to be careful of his fuel as well. It comes on and off, so he's right at that point. So got to be careful, Nato, but he's got to start pushing to try and close that gap. Medi down the inside of the lane for P9. So Medi's had an alright race. He's 20 seconds off the lead on obviously a relatively fresh set of medium tyres. There's still 7 laps, but we'll wait and see how he can go. Everyone's made at least one pit stop. We'll have to wait and see as Nato's already on the back of Toddy. And he's probably going to try his move once again, get the better exit out of turn 10, I reckon, take a wider line. Cut back inside. Toddy actually defended that quite well, actually. But you can see...
Yes, took a very defensive line and
Toddy
making it hard for Nato.
Yeah, Toddy got to be a little bit careful as we go. A little bit of side contact. Yeah,
Toddy gets a 3 second as well.
Toddy might have been better just to let Nato through there. I think they cost themselves both time.
Think so.
Toddy picked up a warning and just by cutting the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... Like, Toddy's in a podium position, so he knows that if he can hold up Nato for as long as possible, Nato's got an extra 3 seconds, but as I think Toddy should have maybe just followed him through, but Nato eventually gets the job done, up into P3. Didn't lose too much time. What was his lap time that last lap? 25.2 compared to Mercier 26.4, so he was still 1.2 seconds quicker than our race leader. So even with traffic, that's how much more pace he's got on those soft tyres.
Yeah, I just wonder how long that advantage is going to last.
And I was going to say, he nearly drilled the back of the Haas, did Nato, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful. He's got to remember these guys have not got the grip he has. As we round, it's going to be his favourite spot, but he might actually get it before turn 10, around turn 9. Just manages to get the room done.
His way through.
Oh, and we've had a collision at the back. That's Battlecat and Elaine Santa as well. And we've got Harass at the back as well. So I'd imagine these three have come together. Or at least Harass and maybe Elaine Santa have come together. So unfortunate for them. But Nato, 4.8 seconds now off the lead of this race. But again, 6 seconds worth of penalties. So he's got to get a 10-second gap from now until... Oh, has Mertz thought about coming in? What is his tyres on? Yeah, Mertz's tyres are on 81%, same as Toddy's. They're only 13 and 12 laps, but that's just sort of how much they're struggling.
Ooh, if I'm them, I'm sweating big time right now.
Yep, 100%. Mercy, his tyres aren't actually too bad, obviously, because he went longer, which was a smart play. Kaya gets past T8, up into P6 now. Medi and Marty comes in for a fresh set of softs, so he's going to be quite quickly, and a lot of these guys now are coming in. Lane, I think he might have front wing damage, that's why he's coming in. Blue Dog's coming in for a set of softs. Yeah, that's front wing, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri. Blue Dog coming in to serve his 5-second time penalty and to chuck on a fresh set of softs. Oh, but look at Parallel Aussie down the inside at turn 7. What is that corner? Just having a quick look. No, turn 7. But you got to get that corner number right. Turn 7. So Parallel Aussie into P4. And he's only 3.5 seconds off Mertz. So Parallel Aussie in a really good shout for another podium here.
Yeah, definitely.
No, he hasn't actually got a podium Aussie this season, so it'll be his first of the season as Lane Santa picks up a 3-second time penalty after making his pit stop. Back at the front, we've got 5 laps of racing left to go, and it's a 2.4 second lead.
So that's about 1.5 seconds gain for Nato on that lap, right? So yeah, he's looking good, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, exactly right. 26.8 from Mercy, 25 flat from Nato, 1.8 second advantage again in favour of the Aston Martin, as Toddy comes in, so he's obviously had enough of those really old hard tyres. As oh, there he goes out of his pit lane. So it's going to be the guys on the fresh tyre. Don't watch for Kyo. Kyo will be a real sneaky one for a podium here. Only 9 laps on his medium tyres. But again, they're not looking real flash. I'm seeing a lot of red numbers on my screen in terms of tyre wear, so they've got to be a little bit careful. As Nato 1.5 seconds behind. To be fair, Mercy's hearts aren't in a great shape either, but those softs are really going to start falling off the cliff. It's going to be tight if Nato... I think Nato will pass him. It's a matter of if Nato can get full 6 seconds on him.
Yeah, exactly right. But Mercy does have a lot of battery stored up compared to Nato as well. And
Yeah, I think...
it looks like Nato's just about to get into DRS, so next lap I
Yeah.
think he'll have DRS.
Yeah, so he doesn't have it this time by, but he will have a bit of a toe. And he knows he can... He's got the grip that he doesn't necessarily have to wait till the DRS zone to make the move. As we've seen, he's very comfortable out of turn 7, 8, and then through turn 10 as well. As Kyo gets past Parallel Aussie, so Kyo
Yeah.
on those mediums, they're looking still nice on the AlphaTauri, and that's Mertz goes super
And he
wide.
goes past Mertz.
Yeah, Mertz is on really old tyres. He's on 91%, so that's why he had no grip coming through turn 1. And you can just see Pellerelli just trying to push him through the corner. Oh, and that was nearly a snap into the McLaren, but Mertz holds it, and Aussie up into P4. Kyo onto the podium position at the moment, as we've got Nato right on the back of the McLaren of Mercy. As again, how much of a fight does Mercy pull up? If he can pull up a fight, as Nato again lines up turn 10. Again, a lot better exit, has a little bit of a wobble, but still hanging on there as Battlecat and T8. I think T8 may have had a little bit of an issue. Just lets Battlecat through up into P7. So I'd imagine it will be Nato getting the move done down at turn 1. As we are about to start lap 27 of 29, we'll have 3 laps left at round 8 of Qatar for Inters Racing League Tier 2, as we have DRS now on board with the Aston Martin. Gets the job done, I reckon, even before turn 1. So Nato takes the lead. But again, the all-important thing is that he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties that he's going to have to try and gap Mercy. Both tyres are not looking real great. It's just a matter of if Nato's got the pressure. As Mercy goes real wide, that might have been a warning as Mertz comes into the pit lane, so those hards have enough. So Mercy is already...
They have, Scotty.
Yeah, as Mercy already 9/10 away. It's got to be close. Toddy on those brand new set of soft tyres, he sets the fastest lap on a 23.2. As I'll quickly switch it back to the tyres, you can see a lot of the drivers now on the soft tyres. So the 2-stop strategy looking to be the better idea. As Mercy trying to hang on, he's probably going to try and use his battery to try and stick within Nato's 1 second. As we round the triple right-hander, coming around 14. And Nato's done it, he's broken DRS.
He has.
Problem is,
but can he build the gap?
Yeah, he pretty much now has to do 2.5 seconds per lap on Mercy to have a chance of this victory, and Mercy just got to try and keep it within the white lines, not pick up a penalty. If Mercy gets 3 seconds, I think this race could be done. As Kyo, I think he'll just settle for P3 at this moment. It'll be a great effort from him. He's too far back, but even Parallel Aussie, he's coming in, so even those tyres, he doesn't feel like those tyres can get to the end, so 2 laps left to go. Marty B will get another position. He's up into P6. He'll probably be driver of the day, as Battlecat and Medi fighting for P4. Battlecat gets the job done over Medi, so the Red Bull into P4 at the moment. So plenty happening.
But good job from Medi. He's also made up some positions this race. I think he'll be happy with his performance.
Yeah, exactly right. Up 7, Marty up 14 from the back of the field after the first lap DNF from the sprint. And good points that he'll actually get back on Gordo. We'll wait to see where these results actually finish up to see where we are in the championship standings. But I'm going to leave it on penalties for the final lap and a half. NATO 1.4. I think he's just going to run out of time. He's actually got the red fuel light on. And he's not even he's
Ooh.
not even on the last lap yet. So NATO is actually going to be quite a bit out of fuel. So the question is, can Kaya catch him? Kaya has not got the light on, so Kaya will be able to full push. Mercy's right
It's
with
going to be
fuel.
close, Scotty.
This,
If you saw the... Yep.
yeah, I
I
was going
think
to
he will
say,
catch him.
yeah, this is going to be the last lap. This is all about fuel now. No safety cars we've had. We've only had a VSC, but that doesn't save a lot of fuel. Nato, he might be in trouble and he may actually lose second place as we are on the final lap. As NATO comes around turn 5 and 6, he goes wide.
And his tyres, yep.
Yeah,
Those tyres must be screaming.
yeah, and having a look, those Mercy's tyres and NATO's tyres are exactly the same percentage wear. So they've caught back up. Mercy was a little bit wide. He has to be careful. NATO's out of fuel.
Oh, we've got it.
I think NATO's out of fuel.
He
He's got
is.
the yellow flag. He's out of
He
fuel.
is. He's out. He's out.
Oh,
And...
Mercy just
Ooh.
managing to get past. So Kyo, he's completely off track at the moment. So Kyo on a really good shout for P2 here. But this is going to be Mercy's race with half a lap left to go. And NATO, he just not going to quite have enough fuel to get to the end. How many positions will he lose?
Oh,
He's thankful that the field's completely spread out. Kyo, he's just closing that gap massively. He's definitely going to get P2 Kyo as long as he doesn't get a puncher. But he's going to have fuel to the end.
yeah,
Battle Cat current.
absolutely.
It's got to be the question of, can the Battle Cat get onto the podium? I think he might. NATO's still got a long way left to go. But as we round the final quarter, Mercy will win this race. Managed to get the one stop done, no penalties, and Mercy will win in Qatar. Kaya will cross the line to finish P2 penalty free as well. The question is, the Battle Cat needs 3 seconds to jump on NATO. Kaya finishes P2. NATO is crawling to the line. The Battle Cat will pinch him on the line. Battle Cat finishes P3. NATO P4, but he loses out to Marty B. Great recovery drive up 16 positions. NATO P5. Had the pace, but just the fuel at the end pretty much cost him a podium. Medi finishes in P6. Toddy P7. Merge crosses the line in P8. It's just all about where these guys feed out in terms of penalties. Aussie finishes P9. Bang, he's run out of fuel. He finishes in P11 because Elaine Santa finishes in P10. Batman just manages to cross, so he finishes P12. And as you can see, we've got a race between the no fuels between Haras and Yusuf. So Yusuf will lose out to Haras, and with the 16 seconds worth of penalties, we sort of saw the same thing as we did last night, that half the field ran out of fuel. They might have put more fuel in than usual, but it still wasn't enough. Blue Dog will finish in P15, Yusuf. TX had a fuel as well, so I don't reckon he'll get that spot. So Yusuf will probably just finish in that podium spot, in the point spot, get the final point, and I think he did. So as we have a bit of a breather, Mercy 1, Kyo 2, Battle Cat 3, NATO off the podium completely.
Wow. How are the turntables, Scotty? Nato had great pace throughout that whole race. That's really unfortunate for him, but yeah, I mean, I would have expected, as you said from the beginning, we had about 6 or 7 run out of fuel last night. So, yep, I hope at least the Tier 1 boys watching this have learned their lesson now, because you can see that's cost Nato a great result, unfortunately. I mean, still a great result nonetheless, but it's put him off the podium.
Yeah, exactly right. But it's the man up top on that top step of the podium, Mercy. He made the one stop well. He had fuel at the end, and that was a great race managed by him. He picks up all 24 points, and I believe with Gordo retiring from this race, Mercy will be your new Drivers' Championship leader for Tier 2.
Yeah, exactly right, Scotty. And Marty B will have recovered some points on Gordo as well. So
Yeah,
he'll be
exactly.
happy about that. Great recovery drive from him, like you said.
Yeah,
Definitely my driver of the day.
Yeah, exactly right. There's going to be a fair few drive of the day opportunity people that would like to give it to, but Mercy picks up your win. Kai P2 Battle Cat finishes for P3, which is very good to see the Red Bull on the podium. Marty, great effort from him from last on the field to P4, great recovery. NATO, unfortunately, lack of fuel at the end, finishes P5. Medi, Toddy, Mertz, Aussie and Elaine Senna finishes just inside the top 10. Bang, Batman, Harass, Blue Dog, Yusuf picks up the final championship point. T8 and Broseph as well, and then our three retirements, Sam, Gordo, and Shadow, who we lost early on.
Yeah, great race, Scotty. That was interesting to see. So it seems like the one stop did work better in the end if you can manage it. But we did see a lot of drivers diving into the pits really late on. I think a lot of drivers were concerned about punctures there.
Yeah, and that's sort of what we saw last night. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the drivers didn't learn from last night, but I think it's the tyre wear catching the drivers out again. And because a lot of drivers boxed under that VSC, they thought they'd make time up, but in the end, it did probably cost them the shot at the one stop. And yeah, they had to box for a second time. So it'd be interesting to get the thoughts of the drivers. I think we've got the two drivers in. We'll just say Battlecat unfortunately can't make comms, as it is said in the Twitch chat. But again, great effort from him. P3. I think it's, as I have a quick look from the Battlecat, picks up his second podium of the season. So great effort from him. P4 in the championship. Battlecat's having a solid season in Tier 2. So yeah, very, very happy as the Red Bull TP to see him right up there. But we got to talk about these two drivers in the com box. And Mookie, we'll start with our second place getter, and it's going to be Kyo, who was sort of up and around the top five, but he played the strategy very nicely and finds himself in P2.
Yeah, what a great showing from Kaya. I think he played it to perfection. Just like you said at the beginning, if you want to do the two stop, you got to commit. But at the same time, if you want to do the one stop, you got to commit too. So, I think he drove it perfectly. He didn't waste too much time throughout the race. And yeah, I think great call from Kaya, great strategy call, and just great consistency as always. So very well deserved podium for him.
Exactly right. We got Kaya in here now. Kaya, how was that race for you? And I did see at one point that your tyres were pretty much stuffed. How was it to drive that track tonight?
Uh, yeah, my hards got up to 94% on the hards. So, I knew, I was just saying to myself, one more lap, one more lap, one more lap. The meetings will be good, one more lap. Because in previous races, you hit the 75% and you're asking for a puncture. But for some reason, Qatar, you can push it out to almost at 100%. And I'm surprised Mercy did so well. He did 16 laps. I was only able to do 15 before my tyres were gone. He had still had good pace. I was hoping he got a puncture because at around lap 12, I was thinking the game was telling me to pit, and I just said nah because we had VSC. It sort of gave me an extra lap almost of tyre wear, but it was unfortunate. A few of the guys ran out of fuel, uh, which promoted me an extra spot.
Well, you won't say unluckily, because obviously you got you capitalised on it. And as I said, I think with about 3 laps to go, obviously you had a big gap behind you. Were you sort of settling in for P3, managing your tyres? Because I did see that your tyres were sort of up there again on on that set as well.
Yeah, when you one stop, your tires are almost at puncture territory for both stints. I I thought maybe I'd done the wrong strategy. Whenever a lot of people were crawling all over me in the first bit, Myrtle was very aggressive on the opening lap. Bumped me around, which I think offset Yusuf, and he spun as we were sort of jostling. But yeah, it's not a fun track to be on old tires. A lot of my overtakes came just because of the change of delta between new tires and old tires.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, great race from you. You managed to put the fuel in that you needed, and came away with a great strategy in P2. So another great result from you, and I think your second podium, I think, of the season. So great form. Scored no points when you were with me, but you've driven quite well. Obviously more comfortable with the wheel, and as I said, it's sort of showing. And yeah, great results from you, and moves you further up, sort of the table. And yeah, two podiums in the sort of in concession a little bit. I think Belgium was your podium, if I'm not mistaken. So win. So, but yeah, great second podium of the season for you, and yeah, hope good luck if you do manage to get another reserve seat in the next couple of rounds.
Unlikely. The missus just ripped my head a new one, my ass a new one. So you probably won't see me for probably a couple of weeks at least. So
It's a bit of a break from you, but yeah, great few rounds from you, and yeah, we'll see you hopefully maybe after the season break.
yeah. Cheers, thanks.
Mookie, do you want to have a chat with our P1 and our race winner?
Yeah, for sure. Mercy, how are you feeling, mate?
Oh, relieved.
I can imagine. How did you feel about the one stop? How were your tires looking?
Um, they were not looking great. I knew the plan was to one stop and just push the tyres as long as they can. I think the meds got to about 70 when I stopped, and the hard at the end were about 77. So once I saw Natobian pit under virtual, which I was tempted to do, I knew he was going for a two stop, so I was just managing the tyres, not really worried at the pace. And then I saw he had 6 seconds, so I just kind of cruised. Like the first stint, I just didn't touch the battery. I think I was sitting at about 95% the whole time. But
Yeah,
yeah, it
for sure.
was
We saw that you managed it really well, mate.
yeah, unlike the sprint where I dumped it all in the first 3 laps.
Well, you learned your lesson,
Yeah.
didn't you? So, but yeah, I mean, that was a great. You managed it well. I think it's also, yeah. I mean, I'm quite surprised you had actually such low tire wear, if I can say, compared to the other guys. So, yeah, I'm not sure if you were just conservative, but I mean, you had great pace if you were driving conservatively. So, yeah, absolutely deserved win. Yeah, you guys are braver than me to take those tires so far, because yeah, I felt last night I definitely had to take the two stop, but yeah, it just shows that that both strategies can work, right? Because if it wasn't for Nato's penalties, he would have done it right as well. So yeah, very interesting with the strategies.
Yeah, and
And
Nat
fuel wise,
Nato
how
was the
much over
fastest,
fuel?
certainly. I went 2.5
Yeah,
laps over because Bridgie, my tier 3 driver, told me he ran out and went like a lap and a half over, so I was always going 2.5, which paid off in the end. I almost
yeah,
died at the end when I tried to pass the Tobin when he was out of fuel because he tried to let me go on the outside, but I was passing him on the outside, so I rear-ended him.
yeah.
So
We
I
did.
lost a bit of
We
my
caught that
wing.
live
So
on stream. Yeah, bit of a heart and mouth moment there, but
yeah,
really well done, mate. You definitely deserved that great pace, and yeah, thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, and
cheers.
I'll just add in obviously new championship leader because obviously Gordo probably not his night that he would have wanted, but I think you've got about a 7 point lead roughly over Gordo. So obviously it's going to be a fight between you two, and obviously Marty B, he had a bit of a shocker in the sprint, but P4 it's going to be pretty much a three-way fight for the rest of this season. Sort of how you feeling? Obviously battling those two, which we know are both quick and consistent, especially on Marty B's part.
Yeah, Marty's I think the most consistent out there, and I think Gordo is the quickest. So I think it'd be good to have a nice little battle instead of the championship being decided in like 5 rounds before the end. So I mean, hopefully it goes to the end, and yeah, I think it'll be a close one. And even NATO on Natobian can probably still come back because I think, like I said, he was the fastest out on track by a mile that race.
Yeah, he looked really quick, and obviously unfortunate that he didn't get his second podium of the season. But yeah, you definitely got a few in here that on their day and on their tracks, they're going to be right up there, especially Toddy, Kyo, when he can come back, and obviously Aussie was up there as well. So yeah, definitely plenty of quick drivers in this tier. So, but big congratulations on your win tonight. Silverstone next week. Obviously, sort of a different track. Sort of how you feeling about that one?
Probably my second favourite track. So hopefully I can get another win or another podium, and yeah, I do enjoy it. So Looking forward to it.
No, it's going to be a fascinating round next week in Silverstone. So yeah, big congrats to you, Mercy, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys, and congrats to Kai and Battlecat. And thanks for doing the comms again, boys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, and Mookie, that's going to wrap us up for Tier 2. Pretty much exactly the same as Tier 3. It was a few battles on track, but it was the strategy, it was the tyres, it was the fuel that we saw a lot of the strategy and excitement come into it. So 2 tiers down, 1 to go, and yeah, it's going to be a fascinating race to watch tomorrow afternoon.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Scotty. I'm drooling for that race. I can't wait. Genuinely, I'm sure. How are you feeling though? You're obviously involved in the race, so how are you feeling personally?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. As I said, it looks like that, yeah, one thing to have pace around here, but you've actually got to manage tyres, fuel, and if a few of the Tier 1 boys haven't been watching these tiers the last 2 nights, they might actually be in a bit of trouble with tyres and fuel. But obviously, I know sort of the strategy I'm going to do and overfuel the car by plenty so I can make it across the line. But yeah, I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race tomorrow night, and yeah, can't wait for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait either. Looking forward to it. Well, good luck to you and all the drivers, and well done to all the drivers tonight. Another fantastic night of racing. Like you said, Scotty, great strategies, great, just lots of action. So lots more to look forward to.
Yeah, exactly right. And a big thank you for you to jumping in. Obviously, great result from you last night, and then backing it up for being in the comms box with me. So really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
All right, and thank you everybody for watching at home. It's been a great round of action so far, and we've got 1 tier left, and that is the quickest guys in Tier 1 to round off round 8 at Qatar. So you'll be able to catch us 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the Inters Racing League channel for the quickest guys in the league battle out around Qatar. So from Scotty and Mookie, big pleasure to bring you all the action, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon for Tier 1 at Qatar.